fiction editor of Jenny as well. So I want to say to both David and Craig that I thoroughly enjoyed reading your pieces during the selection process, and I'm glad that they made it into the magazine. Our next reader is actually not here, but I'm going to read her little bio and then present the person who's going to read their work for you. Lacey Arnold has been writing all her life, but has never until now attempted to publish any of her work. As a professional writing and editing major, ready to graduate at the end of the semester, she now publishes her first short story, a memoir describing a small fraction of her experience studying in India this past summer. And I would like to welcome Sarah Burnett to read Lacey Arnold's memoir.
I signed my name to read this piece without looking at it, and then I picked it up, and then I hated myself for deciding to read this one. So you guys are going to see me go from my normal bright red to really bright red in about 30 seconds. This is Learning Asanas. I sat down in Raj's classroom with no expectations. They had all been stripped from me the moment I stepped out of that sweet-smelling Indian air. Over the next 2 months, the mental picture I had secretly crafted of the country and its people would entirely corrode. But I could only understand a fraction of this then. "Lazy, tell me, do you have menstruation?" was the first thing he asked me besides my name. The S sound in Lacey must not exist in Kannada, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing things wrong, because the entire state of Karnataka calls me lazy. For some reason, this was the part of his question I was focused on. Not right now, I mumbled, intonation rising. What he meant was, are your monthly female cycles regular? They were, but I refused to comment further on the subject. It is not fine. I can fix your menstruation with yoga. Besides giving me the time of our first yoga class, that was the extent of my first conversation with a man I would never truly understand. Raja was short, stereotypically Indian man with a mustache that extended nearly beyond the edge of his face. He liked to make outrageous claims about the mysteriously wonderful powers of yoga and said, "My God, man," when something shocked him. Like most Indian men, his age was entirely ambiguous, masked behind the thick black fur stuck to his upper lip. If I had to guess, I would place him between 25 to 40 years old. I really have no idea. The one way in which he was not stereotypically Indian was in the fact that I could not, and still can't, pinpoint his religious beliefs. I found this to be the most telling trait of nearly every Indian I know. The Christians were westernized and ate at the Pizza Hut. The Hindus always gave rupees when propositioned, but Raja was much more mysterious. Of course, there was his lack of religious dress when he showed up to classes in his Virgin Mobile polo shirt and swishy pants, but he lacked it in his attitude as well. He may have been the only agnostic in the entire country, but if he were, he would not have let a single soul know of it. Our first actual yoga section together began the next day at 8 a.m., an impossibly early time in India since even the coffee shops were not open yet. That didn't matter though, because black coffee was practically unheard of throughout the entire country. Needless to say, Starbucks did not play a key role in India's globalization. Raja, though, was on Indian time, which means he stepped into the classroom at 8:23. I, on Ohio time still, had our 2 mats set up since 7:45 a.m. and was about to call the school that sent him to see what the hell was going on. "You eat breakfast?" was his greeting, possibly the most often asked question in the entire country. An Indian colleague later told me that this is because India's entire social system revolves around food. "Toast," I answered, and realized immediately that I had fallen into his trap. No, you should not do yoga for a minimum 3 hours after eating. It is very bad to do on a full stomach. Only on an empty stomach should we do yoga." So he left, leaving me no chance to mention that nobody had explained to me the rules of pre-yoga fasting. And I'll leave the rest so you guys can read it on the site.